The GIM Channel podcast, bringing you the big picture on geoscientific information management through interviews and discussions.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the GIM Channel. Today we're recording from the Austmine 2017 Mining Innovation Conference in Perth, Western Australia. I'm Misha Stacker from Acquire, and today I'm joined by our guest Christine Gibbs Stewart, who is the CEO of Austmine. Yesterday she opened the Austmine conference to over 800 delegates, and the two-day event focuses on mining's innovation imperative and growth in the mining and METS industries. Christine, welcome to the GIM Channel, and thank you for taking your time out of the conference schedule to join us today.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
Christine, firstly, tell us about yourself. What is your current role at Austmine, and what's your focus as CEO?
Well, I'm the CEO of Austmine, and for those of you who don't know who Austmine is, we represent the Australian mining equipment technology and services sector. We've been around for about 28 years, and in that time we've been championing the sector. And what we do is we really connect people together. We create opportunities for our members, and we promote the expertise and capabilities of the sector, of our members, both domestically and to the world.
That's great. Christine, the Austmine conference theme is leveraging technological innovation through partnerships and collaboration. Some big words there. Why do you think collaboration and partnerships are the key to driving innovation in our industry at the moment?
Well, I think that a lot of innovation has been happening within our industry, but one of the missing pieces is that we are not working together either to connect all the pieces to solve some of the major issues impacting on the industry. So by leveraging everyone's skills and expertise from academia through to METS through to the miners, it's going to be a much more powerful force in addressing the challenges we need to address going forward.
Yeah, that's great. We've seen lots of presentations over the last 2 days as well by some of the biggest mining companies here who are talking about forming those partnerships. You know, do you see that some of those are going to be fruitful, like with the METS and mining companies coming together?
Well, definitely. There were many examples during the conference of mining companies talking about how critical their METS partners were in terms of what they are doing. I think there's been a real change in the industry too, particularly over the last 2 years, as the mining companies have really done all they can in terms of reducing their costs by stopping their capital expenditure, reducing headcount, looking at other ways of cutting costs internally. And now what they're focused on really is looking at how they're going to derive value through innovation and technology. They know they can't do that by themselves, and so they are looking for METS sector partners to help them, and they are seeing the METS sector as more valuable partners to do what they need to do to be sustainable into the future.
Yeah, we've definitely had a lot of talks on that. I guess going back to that technology point that we're just talking about there, obviously we're a software company, we're in the technology space, We love data, we talk about all those things. We heard yesterday Rio Tinto's Chief Executive Chris Salisbury, he mentioned in his keynote presentation that data capture is one of the early building blocks for the mine of the future. Do you think that data plays a big role in helping the industry become more innovative? Is that a key to where we're going in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all talk about the data deluge. We actually have too much data but don't know really what to do with it. So I think the next step is, we have all these sensors, we have all this data coming in. It's really analyzing that data, understanding it, being able to capture that data and having it be communicated in real time so that people can make really good decisions around it, quick decisions, and be really insightful in terms of those decisions they're making.
Yeah, it's sort of, I think, a term that we've used a few times on the podcast and what we've heard at some presentations that we've had, I think a PDAC from some of our guest speakers, was that we are data pigs. It's a term that I always come back to. And it is this thing like we're collecting data all the time. What do we do with it? How do we make those decisions? What's the right data to capture? So it's definitely an interesting topic. I guess where we're going with all these innovations and these new technologies are coming in place. How do you think that is going to, change the mine of the future, or what is the mine of the future going to look like?
Well, one of the things we've been talking about, and a big theme of the conference here, is really the digital mine, having everything connected. And connected, from woe to go, breaking down those silos in the mining process. I loved it when Chris Salisbury talked about having a crusher that actually calls the truck, and being able to do that in an automated way. And I think that's what the mine of the future is going to look like. It's going to be connected. We're going to think differently when we plan mines in terms of that connectivity. It's going to be built in right at the beginning. It's going to mean, though, that we're not going to have as many people on the mine site. So I think probably in 20 years' time you won't really see humans on the mine site, because everything's going to be remotely operated. The other thing I think that will be a big change in mining is that we're going to move to small footprint mining. No one wants a mine in their backyard. Mining is highly controversial, as everyone knows, and it has a bad reputation publicly because of that fact. So I think we're going to see precision mining, keyhole mining. The technology will be developed so that we can do that. Instead of, for instance, exploring, we're going to be discovering, because we'll have the technology to know where that ore body is, and we can precisionally drill to it and extract the ore body. So I think it's exciting times for the mining industry, and it's great that there are so many companies like Acquire and like other technology companies that are really focused on the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to our innovation theme, I know that's sort of our buzzword today. What are some of the biggest or most impressive innovations that have captured your eye lately? Either have you seen some here at Austmine over the last 2 days, or anything in the met sector at the moment?
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on. Some of the innovation is what I would call incremental innovation, or just a clever idea that has made a big difference in how things happen. Yesterday we had a presentation, for instance, by Davies Wear Plates about how they're changing out the wear plates now, which is a relatively simple innovation, but one that makes a huge difference in terms of that process. Everything around being able to, from all the mine planning stuff, all the mine modeling stuff that is happening, all the automation, the underground automation, and the machine learning that was actually talked about today by Petra Data Science. It's all really interesting stuff, which is going to contribute to what the mine of the future is.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of topics on automation, the artificial intelligence, machine learning. It's some really interesting concepts coming through. Listening to a lot of the talks yesterday and continuing on today, what are you seeing as some of the biggest challenges facing our Australian industry at the moment?
Well, I think it's really about us and the fact that not everyone is along for the innovation journey. It was really great to hear many speakers, whether that was Rio Tinto or Roy Hill or Barrick or, I loved Aluka's presentation yesterday when they talked about, and all of those companies were talking about, instilling an innovation culture inside their organization. Actively encouraging people to innovate, putting ideas forward. Aluka even talked about having a Shark Tank where you put innovations forward and probably not as harshly criticized as some of those TV shows are, but really encouraging people to think outside the square and to come up with ideas in terms of how things can be done better. So I think the biggest hurdle is really culture. It's culture from the sense of being very conservative in the approach. It's culture in the sense of not traditionally partnering with others and opening the lid off what you're doing and exposing maybe some of the issues and challenges that you don't want others to know that you have those issues, and just being open. So those are some of the key challenges, but I really do think, given what we've been discussing, over the last day and a half, that things are really changing, and the fact that companies are focusing on that innovation and really saying we're trying to build an innovation culture really bodes well for the future.
Yeah, it's definitely that we have lots of challenges there. We see those challenges and we recognise them, but I guess from those challenges we get those opportunities opening up, and we're like, how can we address those?
But 2 years ago when we had our conference, no one was talking about that. They were talking about the technology and they were talking about innovation in general, but they weren't talking about the people element of it. Because at that time, I think there was still a big denial that the major barrier to moving things forward were the people in the organizations. So it's really great that they said, hey, we realize this is a problem and we're working on it.
Yeah, fantastic. It's great that you've seen that, to know that there has been that shift in perspective and it is changing. I guess as well, if we reflect over the last couple of years, yesterday you mentioned Austmine's membership has also doubled, which is fantastic. What do you think, does this represent, the state of the industry currently in Australia?
I do. I was actually reflecting on it yesterday as I was listening to the various talks, and some people talked about today, but they talked about the 19th century and the journey that their company has gone on in terms of the development of their company and the technologies around that. And not that, we were born in the 1900s, but, we've been around for 28 years, and it's been a hard slog during a lot of those years. And I make the analogy of Austmine to what actually Caterpillar was talking about, in that the driverless trucks were being tested in the 1990s, but no one was willing to get out the checkbook to buy one or really test one seriously on site. But in 2013 they were finally deployed because people said, oh wow, what you've been talking about for the last umpteen years is really relevant and is going to help us do what we need to do. And I feel Austmine has kind of been on that journey, because we started talking about technology and innovation in 1989, and people go, huh? What's that mean? I don't get it. It's not relevant to our business. But now it is. And so therefore I think that as the industry has matured, so has Austmine, and so have the companies around it, and that has made people want to join Austmine and be part of the story that we're trying to tell and be part of the great capabilities and expertise that we represent.
That's fantastic. Well, I think we'll leave that there, Christine. Thank you very much for joining us today. We've got plenty more presentations to catch for the rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That's it for today. If you've enjoyed our podcast, please tell your friends and colleagues about it, which you can find on iTunes, or head to our newsroom at acquire.com.au.
You've been listening to Acquire's podcast, The GIM Channel. Find us at acquire.com.au.